So now we're going to look at the absorption of food. So once it's been digested into the small intestine, the second part. So we're looking at the ileum. So this is where the food is going to get absorbed into the body or blood. Right, so let's just go back and have a look at this. So there's your stomach. So the food's coming to your mouth, into your stomach. It goes out of the stomach into the small intestine. And we said the small intestine is broken up into two parts. So you have the first half where the digestion takes place. It's called the duodenum. And the second part here, where the food gets absorbed into the blood and into the body, is called the ileum. Right, that's how we're going to do it. And we're going to look at this part. Now what you've got is you have your intestine wall, and on the wall you have a little projection here. It's called a villi. So let's write that down. So this little projection is called a villi or villus. So that's singular and that's plural. Now what does this little projection do? It helps increase the surface area of the gut. And what does that do? It helps more diffusion of food take place into the body. Right, and now what else is there that's going on? If you zoom in here, you will see little further projections, microvilli, so loads and loads more. So what that does, it increases the surface area of the gut to about 300 square meters roughly. So by providing villi, these little structures, your surface area goes up and you can absorb more food more efficiently or quickly. Right, so what's the next step? Here you've also got a network of capillaries. These are just very, very small blood vessels. So let's just assume what's happening is blood is flowing in that direction, and you've got capillaries going all the way through there. And how does that help? Right, because the blood is flowing, so let's get this right. So that there is a network of capillaries, and what does that do? Because the blood is flowing, and what does that do? That helps maintain the concentration gradient. I'm going to write it down here, concentration gradient. Maintain concentration. Oh, let me write that, concentration gradient. Concentration gradient. Okay. and we can discuss that when we're doing diffusion at a later stage in a later video. Right, so you've got a network of capillaries. The blood that is flowing helps maintain the concentration gradient. What else is there about capillaries? So the capillaries are also thin. That again makes for a short diffusion distance. What that means is diffusion can occur more quickly. Short diffusion distance. Let me get this right. Diffusion distance. And the fact that they are permeable allow substances through. That just means it allows things through. Right, I want to just look at this villi or villus. That is also one cell thick, which also means it's got a short diffusion distance, making it more efficient absorption. Right, there's one more thing we need to consider. In the center of this, you've got a structure called a lacteal. So let's get this done. So we've got this little structure in the middle, lacteal. Right, with most of the food that's digested here, so you've got loads of food, digested food getting ready to be absorbed. Most of the food will go into the blood, but the product of fats, it absorbs or diffuse, the small fat molecules diffuse into the lacteal. And it goes into the lymphatic system within the body. This will eventually diffuse into the blood by a later time. So this is the structure of a of the ileum. So let's just quickly go through that. This is a bit longer than I'd hoped. Okay, so you have your digested food in the gut, in the small intestine, and now it needs to get absorbed into the blood and then head off to the liver for processing. So what happens is, first of all, you've got these projections here. They're called villi. They have little projections called microvilli. They greatly increase the surface area to about 300 square meters. They are very short. They have very short diffusion distances. They're only one cell thick, so that makes diffusion more efficient. Now, you have a network of capillaries here. So your hepatic portal vein is linked to these. So blood is flowing in, food molecules are being absorbed in through the villi into the blood, and because the blood is flowing, it's maintaining the concentration gradient. So the capillaries maintain a blood flow which helps maintain the concentration gradient for diffusion. They're also thin, which makes a short diffusion distance, and they're also permeable. Permeable just means that they allow stuff through. And then finally, you've got this central structure here. It's called the lacteal, and it absorbs mainly the fat molecules and puts it into the lymphatic system. This eventually then drains back into the blood. So what we've just done is the structure of the ileum. So the question might be, how is the structure of the ileum, or how is the structure of the intestine adapted for efficient food absorption? And you say all this.